Hi there, welcome to Island Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Aquarius energy. And we're going to do this 10 card spread and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because kind of like life's about learning lessons and not everybody's on the same page. We all have our more worldly, shadowy nature, which can be fear and insecurity and pride and ego and immaturity and codependency and ego and self-centeredness and self-indulgence and a more materialistically focused way of living life. And some people have learned more of those lessons than some other people, so they would be harnessing this energy and doing different things in their life than the other people, right? So we're going to read it from those different perspectives. Aquarius energy is air sign energy of the mind. It can have to do with the perspective that we have in life, kind of what drives and motivates us. Are we more about ourselves, more about the world and our ego and our image? Or have we learned to look at life from a higher perspective, keep things in perspective? Have we learned that if we're kind of immature and all these kind of shadowy ways of being, that people probably aren't going to want to hang out with us? And other people might have realized that, but then it's just to hide their more shadowy nature, but they're really shadowy. Other people kind of grew up and learned lessons in life, and they don't even have an interest in aligning with some of their more shadowy ways of being that they could have been when they were 8 and 15 and 21 and 25. And other people are still like an 8-year-old or a 15-year-old. They just try to cover it up, and they think that's maybe what everyone else does in the world. And, so we all tap into Aquarius energy. This might be something particular that people who are Aquarius sun sign or have significant Aquarius placements might be more challenged by in their life, because they have their dream kind of high vibe or low vibe, dealing with other people in the world just like we are that have their own perspective. So it's kind of like when we come into friendship and relationship with people in tarot, we have the 4 elements: our emotional nature, our thinking, logic, and reasoning, our passionate nature, our worldly nature, and we're trying to match up in as many of those areas kind of with other people. That's how come we can more get along with certain people, looking for people who are more on the same page. So listen to your intuition about where you might be in the story and where some other people in your life might be in the story, in how you harness your Aquarius energy. So I view this card as the overarching reason for the reading. I view the Knight of Cups as Pisces, along with the Moon and the Hangman are all Pisces energy. And Pisces energy, in high vibe, it is where we keep kind of having hope and faith and belief in our dreams and in love, and we look at life from other people's perspective, and when we feel stuck, we try to expand our perception of ourselves and the world around us and why we think the way we think and what if we thought differently, and kind of we're open to learning lessons. And then other people are exactly the opposite. They could have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. They might be kind of more fearful, prideful, stubborn, and they have their set way of living life, and they're not interested in looking at it any differently. So we start out with the Page of Pentacles, which can reference all 3 of the earth signs in our Capricorn, our Virgo, and our Taurus. Kind of what our truth is, what drives and motivates us, our philosophy of life. And some people harness it in a more shadowy way, like, I want to live life like this, and it's trying to get other people in the world, with the Fool card at the end of the story, to come live life the way they want to live it. But they could be kind of stubborn and immature, more motivated by things more so than love. Other people have learned lessons in life, and they're moving forward, and they're offering like truth and love to other people, because in high vibe, the pentacle means you've been enlightened to the truth, and you're offering truth and love to other people to see if those people want to move forward with you. And in the Wheel of Fortune, everybody thinks that their way of what they invest their time, energy, and effort into is going to work out the way they want, or they probably wouldn't do it. But the Wheel of Fortune talks about that we will kind of reap what we sow. But some people, are more shadowy, egoic, prideful nature, thinks maybe the Three of Wands is next to it, and the Three of Wands in shadowy Aries can mean that I think I'm the boss. I think I can control things, and other people have learned it doesn't work when you try to control and manipulate people, and they're going with the flow, and they're believing in themselves, believing in their dreams, more inspired to offer love to other people, but also listening to their intuition, being enlightened to the truth that everybody has their free will, everybody's kind of where they're at and how they view life, and kind of listening to their intuition about the people that they deal with. More shadowy people could be, I know there's people, the Three of Wands can talk about people want their dreams to come into reality, and maybe the people that are a little more shadowy think other people have more fear and insecurity and feel stuck, that if they have these things of the world, which could just be, I'll have sex with you. You want to come get in a relationship with me? Okay. So that's what they offer. They offer something of the world. But they could have money or status or social clout. They could have power and influence or whatever. It's whatever people want to offer, right? But the page, the way it can be interpreted is some people do have that hopeful, believing spirit. So they go with the flow. The Ten of Pentacles talks about having learned lessons in life. They've detached from some more immature ways of being. They have hope and faith and belief in their dreams. They're making better decisions in their life than they were making before, is what the Emperor can talk about. And they still have hope and faith and belief in love, and they're listening to their intuition. And even though they might feel stuck at times, they do that work to invest in listening to their intuition, realizing that everybody is where they're at. They have the free will to live their life, to be driven and motivated by whatever they're driven and motivated by. But in High Vibe, the Hangman talks about, I've been enlightened to my truth. And the thing is, we come in contact with all these different people in the world to help us get more clear about our truth. And some high vibe people are like, I know what my truth is and what my truth isn't. And I know there's more immature people in the world who are more motivated by themselves and the world and ego and image and themselves, and have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. And I've already kind of went through that life experience, and I didn't want to repeat that old pattern. So I had to make the decision to offer love to my own fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs, and kind of look at life differently. If there were certain ways of viewing life and living life, which the page could just represent we were more codependent. We just had these lessons to learn. Needless, the first 30, 40 years of our life, we can be pretty fired up because the Fool card, the Three of Wands, and Aries energy are all fire sign energy. We're all kind of inspired by all these things of the world that we want to go indulge in, that we want to manifest. But sometimes we weren't seeing the truth. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm going to be a loving and encouraging and supportive person to people, and I'm sure they'll look at life differently. And then we have justice in reverse. Love is to be just and fair. And if we want things to more work out probably the way we want, we can't get in these more imbalanced, mismatched relationships. And the Justice card is Libra energy, represented by the scales of justice. But for a long time, we weren't enlightened to the truth, because people have hope and faith and belief in love think everybody's motivated and inspired by hope and faith and belief in love. And the truth is, some people aren't. They could get hurt doing that. They don't want to do it. And Pisces energy also represents connecting in with your more emotionally intuitive nature. And up until this point, we don't have any water cards here, emotional water sign energy. So some people could have been more, I'm more motivated and inspired by me and the world. I kind of have these illusions about relationships. I'll use my emotions and my sexuality and my looks and my status and my ego and my image and my social clout. I'll use them all in a more manipulative way to try to get what I want. Because high vibe energy is being more authentic and just and fair and treating people the way you like to be treated, right? So, while everyone went on that journey, that's what the Fool talks about. Everyone kind of went on this journey in the world, and some of them are still going on it. Because again, it can be like the first 30, 40 years of our life. We have a lot of lessons to learn, right? How far is too far? Oh my gosh, I let my heart run my life. Oh my gosh, I let my fear run my life. Oh my gosh, I let my passionate nature run my life. I got consumed by these things of the world that I thought would make me happy. And High Vibe Emperor is kind of realize, well, in High Vibe, in a more shadowy way, we could have been more about ourself. And shadowy Pisces can be kind of caught up in the illusion of the world and kind of maybe being a little bit more about ourselves. But as we go through life, we could get more inspired to be a student of life and realize it's not just about me, and it's not trying to hide from my fear and my insecurities. It's not trying to manipulate people. And they just kind of grow up. And then they've learned those lessons to make better decisions in their life. And they've realized, I need to work through my own fears and insecurities and my own stubborn, prideful ways of being and this way of viewing life and ways of viewing relationships. If I don't want to keep repeating a pattern where I don't get justice, we can want everyone else in the world to change, but the only person we can change is ourselves. So when we work through where we weren't balanced, where we were kind of being more immature, where we were more kind of maybe too caught up in certain things or being more impulsive or reckless or not wanting to deal with the truth, the truth sets us free. And some people became enlightened to the truth, is what the Hangman talks about. Because of all these life experiences, like, I'm not going to keep doing things that I don't think are just and fair. Love is supposed to be just and fair. And if I have people in my life, if I'm treating them, being authentic, going with the flow, working together with them, and High Vibe 10 of Pentacles in Virgo can mean that I'm willing to learn lessons in life. I'm willing to do the inner work. I'm willing to work through my fears and insecurities and ways of being I could have that aren't conducive to a more just and fair relationship. I'm inspired to face my fears. The moon can talk about our fears. I want to learn these lessons. I'm inspired to learn these lessons. I don't want to keep letting all these things manipulate me. Things within myself, the world, my ego, my lust, my greed, my pride, my ego, other people. I want to keep moving forward. I kind of view the moon as moving forward into unknown territory. And we've done that throughout our life. When we were age 15, when we were 18, when we were 21, when we were 25. We all kind of wanted to stay in our comfort zone because I know how to live life like this. But there is that creative, inspired nature within ourselves that wants us to grow to our full potential. And I had a dream. And if I want my dream to come into reality, I need to face my fears. And when I listen to my more creative, inspired, intuitive, loving nature that kind of tells me, the tens can talk about completing a cycle that I've kind of went through a phase of life where I kind of think I've learned everything I needed to learn here. I might have fear about moving forward in life differently, but that is part of life, you know? And if I believe in my dreams, I can't let my more immature nature kind of dominate my life. And that would be Aries energy is about the self. So we could be, well, I've decided I'm just going to try to create an illusion I've healed and grown and matured myself, even though I haven't, or something, right? And it's like, no, I don't want to just keep creating an illusion. I really want to work through those issues that keep me stuck and maybe out of balance, keeps me in my fear, keeps me in my codependency or whatever, so I can be free of it. And then in the Fool, I can go on this new journey. But I have to learn the lessons I was meant to learn authentically, so that then I'm done with that phase of life. We've all been 15, 18, 21, 25 probably. Do I want to go back to living my life like I did then? No, that was a phase of life. I lived it. I could have completely enjoyed it. But that phase of life is over. It's time to grow up. And we all, in our more fire sign energy, harnessed our fire sign energy in a more worldly way of viewing life. And then the Emperor in High Vibe can talk about the fact that, we did go on all those journeys of life to learn all these lessons. And now we've kind of learned, if I let my heart or my mind or my 3D nature or my immature nature or my more, it's about balance. The Libra Justice card, we were kind of more out of balance because we did have all these lessons to learn. But then, as we learn all these lessons, like my heart is equally as important to having stability and security in my life. And having stability and security in life, it's equally as important that I love what I'm doing, to be in a job and friendships and relationship with people that I enjoy and I love, instead of having a job or relationship with people I don't. And my truth. It's important to kind of love my own inner child enough to not live a life of illusion that's not aligned with my truth and hide my truth. And equally, I'm a creative, inspired, passionate person. I don't want to kind of not have that in my life, and it's a balance and it's a mix of both. And it's also kind of learning to listen to our intuition, because how many times did we go get involved in things and it was kind of like our high vibe nature over here saying, you shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea. This is not going to work out the way you think. But we were like, I'm going to go do it anyway. And we just, as human beings, we have free will and we have our intuition, but, we kind of grow up in the world and we kind of think we're the boss and it's more about us, or we think we're so smart. And the thing is, we just don't even maybe really get taught that, our intuition, I think, was given to us as a gift to help us navigate in this world. Just like we're part of the animal kingdom, all the other animals have their unique things. And they don't even question it. They are brought up to align with it and listen to it. But we as human beings, it's kind of like, we don't get brought up telling us that, listen to your intuition, honey, and, you have a good instinct and believe you have a good instinct. And, if your intuition tells you people are being manipulative, and that's where, we really want these things. And the 10 of Pentacles can represent community. We want friendships. We want relationships. We want to have a job and all those things. And because we're so wanting those things, sometimes we don't listen to our intuition. And then we get ourselves stuck in situations that aren't just and fair and balanced. Well, how long do we like to stay in a situation like that? Well, we can stay in a situation like that for a really long time, because the moon can talk about we really don't want to see the truth. Because if we were to be enlightened to the truth and deal with these things that we kind of feel could be going on that are kind of buried beneath the surface, people aren't being obvious and overt, but we could kind of feel like people, and some people wear really good false masks, so, it is this thing, but we don't really want to deal with the truth, because if we dealt with the truth, we'd have to illuminate, I think this is unjust, and I think this is unfair, and I think this is imbalanced, and I think you're being immature, and I think you're being bossy, and I think, these things. And if we did that, you know, some people might move away from us, and we might have to go look for a new job, a new friend, a new relationship. And because we don't want to do that, we can stay stuck in situations. And so there could be some people right now, they could be even hiding, they feel stuck in a situation that they don't think is just and fair. But because their fear of illuminating the truth and dealing with the truth, maybe standing up for themselves, speaking their truth, investing in what they would really like to invest in, moving away from things they'd like to move away from. The fear of doing that, because high vibe energy is about being more independent of, again, your ego, your fear, your more worldly nature, other people in your life who manipulate you. From a place of love to just live your authentic life. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I want to live my more authentic truth. I want to treat other people the way I like to be treated. I want to work with other people who, in turn, treat me that way. And other people are going to go take this leap of faith. And they are not going to maybe keep indulging their more immature worldly nature and other people in their life that would like them to, because they kind of indulge their more immature worldly nature, which can just be a more codependent relationship, staying in a job or a friendship because we've been in a job or a friendship with them for a long time, for our sense of stability or security. And other people are like, I can't keep investing in an illusion. So let's go see what this card is that isn't showing itself. The Seven of Swords, which is Aquarius energy of I have a dream. And so the 5, the 6, and the 7 of Swords are all Aquarius energy. And we all have these things of the world that we want. We'd like stability, we'd like security, we want to be in community, we want to be in friendships, we want to maybe have a job if you're something that you invest in. And, a lot of times, again, initially we haven't learned the Two of Swords in Libra energy. We're still in two minds about what our truth is. And in our free will, we can do this or we can do that. And sometimes we're not willing to make a decision yet because, again, we might have to we'll all repeat a pattern over and over until we are kind of ready to deal with the truth. And there can be some people who never deal with the truth all their life. If they have some fears and insecurities, they may never deal with them. If they have more illusions about what it means to be in a relationship, they might like the illusions they have of what they think is just and fair in a relationship, and they think they're just and fair and nobody's going to change their mind. They can refuse to see the truth. Some people are more caught up in the world. Some people are more caught up in themselves. Some people are more bossy and controlling. Some people are more immature. Some people are more materialistic. Some people like more imbalanced relationships. I'm codependent. I want you to be codependent. I would stay in a relationship with you for all these reasons because I might lack hope and faith and belief in myself or in my dreams or in love. And if I can just find someone else who's kind of on the same page, then let's both stay stuck together. Let's both stay out of balance. Let's both stay codependent or whatever. You have to put in work and effort to work through those issues that manipulate you. And some people don't want to put in the work and effort. Our shadow nature can be our more immature, I want to feel better now, I want instant gratification, want to take the easy way out, instead of putting in work and effort. And then from the 1 to the 10 is the 9 of Pentacles, where you would have to do this work within yourself to work through those issues and kind of see the truth of things that manipulate you, so you can become, in the 9 of Pentacles, independent of those things. Some people have some people in their life that they could think are kind of bossy and controlling, but they could have love for those people, and it's like, am I willing to become more independent of them? Am I willing to kind of maybe stand up for myself? And, because the whole thing is, we all have people in our life that we're in relationships with. Do we respect them as being their own individual, has the free will to live their life the way they want to live it? Are we telling them how we think they should live their life? Are we, but other people could think they have the right to tell other people how to live their life. And some people have kind of gotten caught up in a scenario like that, and they really haven't stood up more for themselves. And then they could have a lot of fear of standing up for themselves. So I think there's some shadowy people right now who try to tempt people with things more of the world, to move forward with them in relationships, kind of like promising that if you move forward with me, your dreams will come into reality. But if they know those people are more motivated and inspired by love, they know they're being deceptive and manipulative. Your dream isn't going to come into reality with me. But if I can get you in it, and I can get you to take that job or start being my friend or date me or marry me if we've already been dating, I think if I get you in it, I think even when you might realize as time goes by, I have some ways of being that aren't that just and fair, or I'm imbalanced, or I'm fearful, or I'm codependent, or I'm immature. Your dream is not going to be love, isn't going to be the driving factor. They're hoping that just because we can kind of get caught up in our ego and our image and our status, and we would like those things to work out, and love, that other people will stay stuck in something that's unjust and unfair. And that's what they're counting on. Shadowy people are kind of standing up for their truth, but they're just going about it in a deceptive, manipulative way. But if you're not willing to deal with the truth and stand up for yourself, well, then I guess we're going to do it their way, aren't we? And that's what they're hoping. And maybe hoping to use your more loving nature to manipulate you, to keep indulging them in their poor behavior. And some people did that, and they're like, I see my dream isn't going to come into reality here. And I'm not going to stay in denial of the truth. And I'm going to do this work within myself to figure out why I don't stand up for myself. And again, when we're ready, that's when some people say, I think this is unjust, unfair. I'm offering you truth and love if you want to work together with me in a more just and fair and balanced way. But if not, I'm moving on. And some of those people are doing that. And you could be in relationships with other people who do work together with you in this more just and fair way. They're not being like egotistical or self-centered or deceptive or manipulative. And you're moving forward with those people. And some of you have already cut out a lot of the people in your life who you think are more unjust and unfair. But throughout our life, we're always got some well, we have no guarantee in life when people could have been again wearing a false mask, and then kind of over time it's like, I don't think you are who you say you are. And it's been kind of subtle and gradual over time, but after seeing incident after incident after incident, it's kind of like I can't keep staying in denial of the truth anymore. I wanted a dream to come into reality, and based on the facts, I see the truth that you're not really interested in working together that way. And that's when some people, whether it's employers or friends or romantic interests, that are like, in a way they were kind of, if you wanted to call it hiding, but they were doing this kind of work within themselves to kind of maybe pay attention and observe what people are doing and what they're not doing, and the work and effort they put in, and if they seem to be more, just observing people maybe. And eventually it's kind of like, yep, time after time after time, I keep seeing that it's never moving forward. It's the illusion that it's going to move forward, but it never moves forward. We keep, whatever the issue is that keeps it stuck and kind of stagnant, keeps not being overcome. Where people would close out an old way of being or thinking or acting or behaving to invest in working through their issues, to be inspired to work together with people in a more cooperative way. And eventually people are like, I'm not going to keep... I was trying to make something just and fair and balanced, but everyone has to equally be motivated and inspired to work to bring things into balance. And that if someone isn't, so it kind of really makes me think of like a workplace where, that happens. It can happen in friendships and families and organizations and in workplaces where eventually some of the people are like, I'm done. And that's when some people are like, oh shit, I didn't realize they were paying that attention. And that's kind of high vibe Virgo energy where people are paying attention, but other people think, oh no, they're caught up in the illusion of me. Oh no, I create this illusion and I do put in some work and effort, but I am a little bit more about me. And eventually then they could be like, shit, they did see the truth. Damn. And then, some people are going to move forward in their life without them. So, what's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Aquarius energy versus some people who harness some more shadowy Aquarius energy? What's coming up for the high vibe people that they might not see coming up? They are taking action in their life, making good decisions in their life, not, even though they might be tempted by some things in the world. I can only have my dreams come into reality with people who are kind of working together with me on the same page. So I'm going to keep listening to my intuition. And I get kind of this justice card in reverse can feel like there's not justice around, but it's kind of like going through a phase of winter while other people are off learning lessons in life too, that we might go through a period where we feel like we're not getting justice. But that is that time for us to invest in ourselves, focus kind of on our dreams and maybe enlightening ourselves and looking at life differently. It's like preparing for that next journey we're going to go on. And then when we've kind of completed that phase, which some people are, and they've worked through seeing the truth of what was unjust, unfair, who in their life was unjust, unfair, and then they're ready to go on that new journey. And then some of the people in their life could be shocked. It's like, what? Well, I thought I was manipulating you. I thought you were stuck. I thought, you were going to come back any day. And it's like, shit, they're going on a new journey. the Queen of Swords, which is Aquarius, and the Four of Swords, which is Libra. Why? Because of the King of Swords, which is Libra. You have gotten clear about your truth, and because you wanted to get to the truth, you did this work to look at life from a higher perspective, to not get all caught up in your head about your dreams and these things you wanted to have. You know, we have to deal with reality. If there's people we wanted to have a dream come into reality with, but they're not working with us, or they're not being just and fair, or kind of acting with character and integrity, we got to see the truth of it. I'm not going to keep doing that. That might be what you want to do, and that could be your idea of the dream life, but that's not my idea of the dream life. And they're looking to the future. I've been there. I've done that. I did not enjoy it. And I can't make other people heal. I can't. The Four of Swords can talk about healing from past pain, heartbreak, fear, insecurity, living more from your mind than your heart. I can't make other people see the truth, deal with the truth. The only person I can heal is me. And I didn't enjoy this. They maybe did. This is the way they want to keep living their life. I'm going to let them live their life like that with someone else. And I'm looking to the future, to people who are more who they say they are. If you're balanced within yourself, the kings can kind of represent how we present ourselves in the world. And in shadow, we can be operating a little bit more from our ego nature. So we'd have a shadowy Queen of Swords. And you could realize you're in relationships with some people who try to present themselves as just, fair, stable, grounded. I'm not selfish. I'm not egotistical. I'm not immature. I'm not bossy. I'm not controlling. But they have some, the Queen of Swords can either be the people, male or female, that they're defensive, they are more caught up in the worldly dream, they have some past pain and heartbreak they haven't dealt with, and it makes them defensive, but they try to present themselves like they harness high vibe Aquarius, high vibe Libra, but they really don't. And you saw the truth of it. And you are harnessing high vibe Libra, high vibe Aquarius. I am who I say I am. I am motivated and inspired. I maintain balance within myself to love my inner child, worldly nature, to encourage it like a parent would a child, that we're not going to hide from the truth. And we're not going to go indulge our more immature nature. We've already been there. And we've done that. We've seen the truth of it. If we want our dreams to come into reality, we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And other people who want to be in a relationship with us have to maintain a higher standard. You know, if have the emotional maturity, regardless of what age I am, say 25, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone who has the emotional maturity of like a 15-year-old. You know, I wish you peace. I hope it works out for you. But I am looking for people who kind of have learned some of the same lessons I've learned, who are more balanced within themselves, who really are who they say they are, not people who create an illusion that they've been enlightened to the truth and grown and healed and matured themselves when they're really quite immature or codependent or something. And I wish you peace, but I've healed, and I'm looking to the future and going on a new journey. When we complete a cycle, just like the Ten of Pentacles, we come out with the Page or the Ace of Pentacles, and you have completed a cycle of the Ten of Swords. No longer up in your head and confused about the truth. You've seen who isn't who they said they were, who is not revealing the truth, who doesn't look at life from a different perspective, who might be more stubborn or prideful or more about themselves or caught up in things of the world that they make their life about. And you've seen the truth of it, and you've healed, and you're ready to go on this new journey. And I think as you move forward, maintaining this balance within yourself, offering people truth and love, you let other people then, you are offering the highest energy of all. I'm going to treat other people the way I like to be treated. I'm going to be just and fair and authentic and loving and encouraging. And then they have their free will to decide what kind of person they want to be. And I'm not going to get up in my head about it if they choose to be more immature or petty or envious or jealous or bossy or controlling. I just see that I don't have to know what keeps you stuck, but something keeps you stuck. That's for you to work out. And I'm going to wish you peace. And I'm going to focus more of my attention on the people in the world or at the workplace or in my community who do seem to be more balanced, because I'm not going to indulge people in their more immature, prideful, bossy, controlling ways of being anymore. That can be your truth, and you're looking to maybe manipulate loving people who can put a lot of work and effort with people. And I'm not doing that anymore. I will treat you the way I treat people, treat you with respect and in a just and fair way, as long as you are working together with me in that way. But I don't want to act out of my character. Some people, if they act certain ways, it's like, yeah, I'm just not going to have anything to do with them, And as you move forward in your life, offering truth and love, some other people will listen to their intuition, maybe about why they're living their life, why they'd possibly be defensive to someone like that. If it is people, we can all learn lessons. High vibe people get out of their ego. I had some lessons to learn. Not being deceptive and manipulative, communicating with people the truth. This is lessons I've learned. This is what I've become independent of. I've been inspired to make better decisions in my life. I've kind of seen what manipulated me and why I aligned with certain people and things in my life. And I look at life differently than I did before. And I'm no longer out of balance. Now I'm balanced. And then those people have the free will, whether you know them or not. Not like everyone you're going to tell your life story to. But some people in your life might have had to move on ahead of you at one time because they felt you were kind of immature or not seeing the truth or whatever, right? And regardless of who you communicate with and who might want to communicate with you, I think you're going to just get to know people, and you've learned to get to know people more self-aware that people are kind of driven by kind of shadowy reasons sometimes. And, before you're with some people who you feel betrayed you or were more defensive or immature or whatever, you're going to stand up for yourself. Some people you have no interest in trying to heal a relationship with because they've showed you the truth of who they are over and over. And you might realize they have a lot of lessons to learn. Other people, you would get to know them, but you're not going to maybe move forward to kind of heal a relationship until you are illuminated to the truth. And just like you could feel that way with some people, if you've spoken your truth to some people, and then some could keep staying defensive to you, and you're like, okay, I believe that God's got a plan for my life. God knows. If some people don't see the truth, there's a reason. If I'm being truthful and honest, maybe they're not who I thought they were, or maybe they have some issues to work through. And I still just look to the future, and I believe the divine has a plan for me. And if I keep walking the talk, because there can always be people who want to repeat that old pattern where it's a little bit more about them. And it's like, no, you're either going to be truthful and honest and work together with me in a just and fair way, or you might not be working with me because you're trying to manipulate me. I'm not doing that anymore. If I communicated my truth and that you're not responsive to that or defensive to that, then I wish you peace and I'm moving on. And the people I meet as I go forward, I'm going to listen to my intuition about those people too. And I'm going to listen to my intuition about the people that are currently in my life. It's just a thing of paying attention. And when you feel people are kind of being deceptive and manipulative, to bring it to light, because it's going to come to light sooner or later. And if we keep thinking, oh, no, 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 I don't want to bring it up, blah, 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 it'll cause problems, it's going to cause bigger problems later. It's kind of like, again, some people try to cheat the system or get away with shit. Why is it so hard to work cooperatively with people in a just and fair and authentic manner? Everybody can kind of have bad days and we extend some grace, but in general, there sadly is shadowy people. Well, I'm just seeing how much I can get away with. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to be in a friendship or relationship with people who are wondering how much they can get away with me. It's like, why would you need to get away with anything? Well, because I kind of like to be more immature and really more about myself. It's like, then I'm going to let you go be in a friendship or relationship with someone else. Enjoy. And some other people could know the truth of that, and they're trying to think if they're willing to let go of these old type of relationship dynamics, knowing they could get in friendships or relationships with other people who will let them get away with that. It's like, yeah, if you want the illusion, and if that's what's valuable and important to you, but if you've realized the truth is that it's great to be in relationships with people who are being authentic and loving and encouraging and kind of letting their more hopeful, believing, loving nature out, and you are able to do that too, that's really kind of like living the dream. But to each your own. What's coming up for some people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Aquarius energy that they might not see coming? The Star card, the Ten of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, and the King of Cups. Why? Because of the Knight of Wands. So the shadowy people kind of could be more immature, and they got some lessons to learn, because the Knight of Wands and Sagittarius is about higher learning and education. So like the Fool, we go on these journeys. We're either going to learn lessons the more easy way, or we're going to learn them the hard way. If people were to invest time, energy, and effort to get out of being more inspired by themselves and the world and look at life from a higher perspective and see the truth that it's about love, they could go on a new adventure in life. But because they think they know better, and it's more about, no, I'm going to keep moving forward wearing my false mask. And I'm going to present myself as a loving person to try to get people to get in relationship with me. But I'm not willing to take a leap of faith really in love. And so I'm going to keep repeating this old pattern. And right now they could, if they have someone in their life who has lessons to learn from them, they're going to repeat this pattern with someone else. And when those people kind of see the truth that these people are more motivated to indulge in what they indulge in or what they want to make their life about, more so than love, then those people are going to leave. You know, it's kind of like God uses all people for God's good purposes. You know, we all have the free will to manifest whatever kind of life we want. And if there weren't more shadowy, immature, bossy, controlling, whatever type of people in the world, we wouldn't have that option and that choice, right? So those people are in the world. We can get in relationships with them, and then it's up to us. Am I willing to listen to my intuition and kind of love myself enough to not be more tempted in my codependent nature or my worldly nature or my more materialistic nature or whatever, to believe in myself and believe in my dreams and listen to my intuition that is telling me nothing's going to change here. This is going to be feeling stuck in something that is never going to become more just and fair and balanced. I can do that if I want, and some people are going to do that. And other people are like, I don't want to just create the illusion of love. I really am inspired by love. And that's kind of when people could tell some people in their life, it's kind of like Judgment Day, you know? I am moving forward in this way. Are you coming with or are you not? And if the other people seem to kind of, your intuition is telling you that They might, again, trying to hide the truth, being stubborn, being immature, thinking you won't really stand up for what you believe in. That's when some people are like, that's it, I'm done. And in their Aquarius energy, they could just see the truth. And even if it's just that our dreams are different, I mean, it can't even be, well, I want to live in a big town, you want to live in a small town, or, if it's not more at a core foundational level of if you're more motivated and inspired by love or not. You know, some people want you to make it more about them or their friend group or their family group. And it's not about giving birth to your own dream because they're still codependent on their friend group or their immediate family or something, and they're not willing to become more independent of it. That is where their primary foundation is, and that they're aligned with. You're someone they can get in a relationship with, but it's always maybe even a divided loyalty. Well, these people want me to align with them, and if you're someone who's a romantic interest or married to or wanting to create a family with, the friend group and the immediate family, are they people we enjoy and have love and respect for? But this is supposed to be your primary foundation. This is the foundation you stand up and defend. And some people weren't willing to do that because they're still kind of just more codependent to be more about themselves and unwilling to maybe work more cooperatively with people. It's more about them and their dreams and their wants and their lust and their greed and their pride and their ego, and maybe just wanting to be indulged more in a relationship. And they have some growing up to do. And so they're probably going to have some high vibe people in their life that are going to distance themselves from them. And they'll have other people who are kind of on the same page as them. And they're like, hey, I wear a false mask too. Hey, I'm kind of more immature. Hey, I'm more caught up in myself or these things of the world. I'll move forward with you. And so long as those people are on the same page as them, that would be a just and fair relationship. They didn't kind of grow to their full potential, but it's not manipulating someone who they know is more emotionally mature, loving, just, fair, when they know they're not. And some of them then might feel stuck because some of them really didn't want to be in a relationship with someone who is like themselves. Well, no, I want to be the immature one. I don't want both of us to be immature. I want to be the bossy one. I didn't want to be in a relationship with someone who's bossy. And high vibe people have kind of like tempered their more egoic nature to treat people in a more just and fair way. And they might end up getting in some relationships with people who are more like themselves, and either they'll not want to be in a relationship with them and distance themselves from them, and they could go back to trying to manipulate some people and try to confuse them about the truth about who they are again. Or they'll just go try to get in a relationship with someone else, you have to be willing to get out of your ego to even deal with the truth. And some people, they could have a lot of truths to learn and they don't want to see the truth of it. And that's what some shadowy people are doing right now. They are being deceptive and manipulative again. And it's for the people in their life to decide if they're willing to keep putting up with it or not. Because some of them, that is their truth, and that's how they want to keep moving forward. And if people become enlightened to the truth, that's when they're kind of hiding. Yep, I'll indulge myself in the relationship for as long as it lasts until you see the truth. That it's really not just and fair. It's never going to be just and fair. And then I'm going to leave and let you move on. Because I'm not, you either work cooperatively with people or you're just basically trying to indulge yourself in a relationship. So there you go, Aquarius. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.